Okay, so it's 6 o'clock and we'll make a start. Hi, everybody. You are very welcome to this talk. My name is Siobhan O'Brien and I am currently the chair of this brand new program, this brand new course in DCU, the Bachelor of Education in Home Economics and Technology. We're going to go on to the next slide, Jennifer, please. Okay, so if you're here this evening because you're trying to decide what course you'd like to do, this course is really a course for people who want to become teachers, post-primary teachers in particular. It's a brand new course. So if you love that idea of becoming a teacher and working with young people, you're very familiar with it, most of you, post-primary students, if you want to kind of inspire those people, share your love of learning, and you really want to make an impact on their lives, this might be the course for you. We'll just move on again, Jennifer. Okay, so why the BEd in Home Economics and Technology? So as I said, this is a brand new course. There's no other course in Ireland that will train you to become a home economics and technology teacher. So first of all, it's a unique course. It will train you to become a teacher of both of those subjects at post-primary level. Now, most people who come on or who attend talks about this new course, they're usually fairly familiar with home economics as a Leaving Cert subject. And if you're not, it involves like food and nutrition, consumer studies, home design, textiles, fashion, social studies, those kind of topics. And a lot of people associate it with, cooking and sewing, and that certainly is the case, but it's a bit broader than that. But a lot of people who come to these talks, they're less familiar with technology as a subject. And some of you might be wondering, well, what does that involve? So technology really looks at the technologies that are part of everyday life. And it looks at how technology can design a solution to various problems in the world. Now, design is a really big part of technology, and it often uses software such as computer-aided design to design these kind of solutions. It might involve learning about electronics, about pneumatics, about hydraulics, mechanics and materials such as like perspex and plastics and aluminium, those kind of the materials that you'd make something out of. It also looks at graphic design and modeling, and you learn to do things like use a 3D printer or laser cutters, for example, in this course. So that is really what a home economics and a technology teacher would teach about. So we'll move on again then. Okay, so what's unique about this course is, well, first of all, it's a brand new course. As I said, there's no other college in the country that offers this program or this course. It involves a very unique partnership between ourselves in DCU and TUS, which is Technological University of the Shannon, based in Athlone. And actually, students will go to the TUS in Athlone for the first 2 years, and then they'll do the last 2 years in DCU on St. Patrick's campus. Now, we already have another course up and running with TUS in Athlone called the BEd in Technology, Engineering and Graphics, and it's currently in its 4th year. So this model, this relationship that we have between us of working with TUS is well established. And what's really interesting is that you become a student of both universities. So you can avail of all the libraries and the facilities that are available to students in both campuses. Even if you're mainly, say, based in Athlone, you can still, say, be using the library in Dublin, say if you live in Dublin. So that's one of those other advantages of this course. You'll be qualified to teach in just 4 years, and you'll be able to teach both subjects to Leaving Cert level. And this course is fully accredited with the Teaching Council. So you'll be qualified, or it's accredited with the Teaching Council, so you'll be able to teach those subjects right up to Leaving Cert level. Okay, moving on again. So this is just a quick look at what you'll study. Now you can imagine here that if you're going to be teaching home economics and technology, you're going to need to learn about the content of home economics and technology. There's professional studies, which is all about learning how to teach those subjects and developing your identity as a professional teacher. And then foundational studies are a lot about the nuts and bolts of how you think as a teacher and how you become a teacher. And then school placement is really about learning to practice being a teacher. And I'll go into those in a little bit more detail in the next few slides, and we can move on again. Okay, so just to let you know what happens in year 1 and year 2. And in year 1 and 2, students will be located in TUS and Athlone campus. And in TUS, you will be doing a lot of the very practical, hands-on aspects of the course, like the home economics content and the technology content down there. You'll learn from like absolutely expert educators in both of those areas. You're going to work in like dedicated culinary and textile teaching spaces, demonstration workshops, and really fantastic technology education spaces. Like our students have been enjoying those spaces over the last few years. You can see in the pictures here one of the technology labs, and you can see in the other picture one of the outdoor gardens that they use in the culinary or in the kitchen training areas. We can move on again. So just to give you an idea of the spaces here, we have another couple of images, and this is like one of the textiles labs. Everybody will have a sewing machine, and there'll be a lot of design going on here, a lot of creativity. And on your right, you can see a kind of a picture of one of the culinary kitchens, and you can see one of the lecturers there teaching some kind of nice confectionery, which will be all kind of part of the course. And we can move on again. Okay, so what do you actually do in year 1 and year 2 down there? So while I mentioned that you do a lot of the practical content relating to home economics and technology, you also will be doing things like looking at education theories. You'll be also thinking about becoming a teacher. You'll be doing electronics, materials and process technology, food studies. So you'll be in those kitchens, design, the textiles and the crafts, the graphicy and modeling labs, mechanics, food studies, social studies. And in year 2, you'll be doing the technology pedagogies, which is how to teach technology. You'll be doing more food studies, social studies, looking at design in terms of textile and garment construction, advanced process technology. There'll be micro teaching as well, which is where you get to practice becoming a teacher. There'll be students brought in from one of the local schools, and the students, or our students, will work together to teach those students in small groups and kind of just the baby steps of beginning to learn to be a teacher. So there's a lot about design in home economics, ICT and manufacturing systems. So that's year 1 and year 2. And we'll move on then. Okay, moving on to year 3 and 4. Students will then move up to DCU, and specifically DCU St. Patrick's campus. And their DCU Institute of Education is a centre of excellence for teaching, it is one of the leading teacher education HEIs or faculties in the country. And you'll have access to, again, really experienced lecturers who are, we have been training and preparing teachers for decades. You'll also have access to state-of-the-art education spaces such as the Lego Studio rooms and the Minecraft and innovation rooms that we have on St. Pat's campus. And we'll move on again. So in year 3, we do more, I would say, education modules in year 3 and 4. You've done a lot of the content in terms of technology and home economics at this stage, but there will still be some elements of those subjects as you go through year 3 and 4. We'll do a focus a lot on those aspects of becoming a teacher, like how to teach the different subjects. There'll still be some, as you can see, design for manufacturers, still some of those technology topics included in there. In year 3 and 4, some of the big things that happen is that students go out on placement. So for all of semester 2 in year 3, and all of semester 2 in year 4, students will actually be out on school placement for the entire semester. So you could actually, instead of having accommodation in Dublin, for example, if you live down the country, you could be teaching in a school nearby, and you could, if you wish to, maybe live at home for semester 2 in year 3 and 4. And I think a lot of people find that like a really good advantage. One thing I'll draw your attention to is the circular economy enterprise, and this is where you actually create a food product, and you design it yourself, you create the food product, and then you use what you've learned in technology to actually design the packaging and the presentation for that. So in a way, it's kind of like a little mini enterprise or a micro business. that you're getting the experience of in that module. The advanced school placement is just the fourth year placement, and the extended research project is all our fourth years do a big research project on an area of their choice, usually related to education. And we can move on again. Okay, so professional placement, or school placement as we call it, is a really important part of the programme. And as I said earlier, those micro-teaching classes or sessions that you do, in first year and second year, they laid the foundation to help you to become a teacher. And when you go out to schools, we have teachers in schools who support and guide and mentor our students while they're on placement. And we also have our own DCU placement tutors who also go out and support you and observe you teaching. But you don't just start teaching from day one. You get to actually observe teachers, many teachers teaching their own classes, and you learn a lot from those observations before you ever start teaching yourselves. So teaching is really, I suppose, going out to teach in third year and fourth year, most of our students find a really exciting part of the programme. And we'll move on again. Okay, one of the opportunities that students have is they can actually, if they wish to, they can apply to do this internship, which is in the summer of third year. It's called a STEM teacher internship program, or STINT as we call it. And if you want to find out more about that, there is lots of I suppose if you go online, you'll see lots of people talking about their experience of doing that STEM internship, kind of providing testimonials in a sense of what companies they worked in and what they did during the summer. And as I said, that is optional. But if you're interested in that, there's loads of information online about those experiences. Okay, we can move on again. Now, what most people will be interested in is entry requirements. Now, because this is a brand new course, it's very hard to predict how many points will be required, but we know it'll be at least above 400 points. How much above 400 points, we don't know at this point in time, and I suppose it depends on the level of interest. But the general entry requirements that are needed is the 6 Leaving Cert subjects at a grade 06 or H7. To include English or Irish and maths. And maths, there is a requirement for maths. The grade must be a minimum of 03 or a H7. Now, an important thing, and one thing people ask a lot is, do you need to have done home economics or technology in Leaving Cert in order to get into the course? And the answer is no, you actually don't need to have done either of them. Some of you may be anxious about the fact that you might have done one subject but not the other, and maybe you've never done. A lot of people who are interested in this course have done home economics, but they might not have done technology, and they wonder about how they'll manage if they've never done technology. We anticipate that, and we know that that might be the case, and that is often the case in the other course that I mentioned earlier in partnership with Athlone. And what we do is, in first year, we do kind of a quite basic and intensive taking you through the basics of, say, technology and home economics for anybody who hasn't done those subjects before. So that's just something to mention in case anybody might be concerned about that. In fact, some of the experience of some of our students is that they end up preferring the subject that they never did before in school, and that might be the case. Okay, so we'll move on to the next slide then. Okay, so if you want to get more information on the course, there's a QR code there. And if you have, I'm going to be answering questions now, but if there are other questions after this, if you'd like to email myself, Siobhan O'Brien, you can email me if there's any queries I don't answer this evening. And also, I just want to say that TUS and Athlone are going to have an open day on the 9th of April. Not an open day, an open evening actually, on the 9th of April. So if you're curious about the facilities and the campus there, you can go along to that open evening on the 9th of April. And if for some reason that date doesn't suit you, Emma Reardon, our colleague in TUS, has offered that just email her and she is open to showing people around the campus separate to that, okay? And you can also email Emma Reardon any queries you may have about the campus there in Athlone. And I think we'll move on to the next one. In fact, I think that's probably the last one. Yeah, and that's it. So thank you very much. Now, if anybody's any questions, if you'd like to type them in there, and I will do my best to answer them. Ah, yes. Okay. Does the course start in September? Yes. So it will start in September. We'll take in our first group of students in September for the first time, and they'll start in Athlone, in TUS in Athlone. Yeah. And they'll be in TUS in Athlone. Sorry if you missed that at the start of the presentation, Joan. They'll be in TUS in Athlone for the first 2 years, and then they come to DCU for year 3 and year 4. So I'll be here for another while. So if there's any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. So basically, you can apply now to the CAO. These courses available to apply for right now through the CAO. Okay, so why technology is the second subject? Well, I have to say that there is a huge demand for both home economics and technology in schools in Ireland. There's a huge shortage of both those teachers of those subject areas in Ireland at the minute. So, first of all, I suppose we're responding to demand, but then we actually are also aware that there is fantastic synergies between both of these subjects, and both of them have a huge element of design. So if you think about home economics in terms of design of food, design of textiles and crafts and all that, and also technology is all about design. So there's huge, I suppose, crossovers between these two topics. And the other thing I suppose they have in common is that there's a huge emphasis on sustainability in terms of design and sustainable use of resources. So yeah, so that's kind of some of the crossovers that exist between the two. Plus, I just have to say that teachers who qualify in both or either of those subjects, these subjects will be snapped up because there's such a huge demand for teachers of both of these areas. Do you need to meet the maths entry requirement if you're doing the QQI? No, the QQI actually is what you need if you're entering through the QQI route is a full level 5 and a distinction across the 8 modules. So that's actually the requirement across, for the QQI. It's that entry rather than requiring the maths. So hopefully that answers that question. Can you still do any PLC course? Well, it's a level 5 PLC course, level 5 award. As I said, 5 distinctions across 8 modules, and maths isn't required, therefore. Okay, I think we're getting more questions. Oh yes, it is possible to access the course through a PLC. So where you've done a QQI full level 5 award, yes, absolutely, you can apply for this course. Now, I'm very happy to answer any other questions you might have. As I said earlier in the slides, my email address is there. Hopefully you got a copy of it. It's on the DCU website in any case. If you look up the course on the DC website, Bachelor of Education in Home Economics and Technology. It's DC016 on the CAO. And if you look up my email and if you have any follow-up questions, just email me or Emma Reardon in TUS, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Now, I don't see any more questions coming in, so maybe we'll call it a day at that, if that's okay with everybody. Thanks so much for your attention. Thanks for attending this session. And hopefully I'll be seeing some of you in DCU. Thank you very much, everybody.